Okay, my name is Michael Stewart, and I'm here to show everyone how to install an electrical outlet. Everyone has one of these in their house. You wonder how it happens. Alright, well, first of all, since we're not really in the house, I'm going to shortcut this thing. Usually you have either one or two of these little Romex cables. This happens to be 12-2 with ground, meaning it's number 12 wire, two of them, and then it's got a ground, which is a total of 3 conductors. Alright, you usually have something like this sticking out of it. If you have one, that's even easier, but for this purposes we're going to do 2. So this is a little bit harder than in your house because it's all wiggly. But you strip these down like this, right in the middle. Don't worry about cutting the outside. If you stick it in the middle, the blade rarely, if ever, scratches the wire coating off of the Romex. These are not my favorite strippers, but they'll work for here. And they actually have a deal on here that I didn't think about. Actually, most electricians use their dikes to cut this shielding off, but for this purpose we're just going to use the minimal amount of tools so that anybody can do it. And these actually are pretty cool because they got a little thing that you can actually reach in, cut the insulation off like that. It's really neat, but you don't have to buy all that stuff. You can just use a wire. Just one of these would be fine. You could even strip the wire with it. Now, in the olden days, we would just twist this together, and we'd leave one out. We'd twist this together, which I still prefer to do if we're not under any stringent codes, but they recommend that you don't twist them together anymore, and just prefer you cut them wires and put a connector on here, which I really didn't leave. I don't know if maybe I left enough sticking out just for the purposes of demonstration. Wiring up that together, and you don't want to just leave it halfway. You want to go ahead and tighten it down really good, even if you have to use your pliers. They actually even make a tool for this. If you need, you can get one of those. Now the black is the hot that goes to your breaker. This comes straight from your breaker. The white goes to the bus bar, which is the same place where your grounds hook up to in the breaker box. But for this purpose, it won't matter. Put it in a 12. Strip that. There's little holes on the side here, and you can use, if you have one of these kind of strippers, and it'll bend it to the right. And that'll be, notice one screw has brass, the other one has silver. The brass is always the hot side, which is also the small hole side. It's got the narrower conductor on your plug. This will be your ground, and that's your white. And actually, this is a better plug than what I really meant to use. You can actually just stick those in those holes. But since most people don't have a commercial grade plug, we'll just use the screws. I actually way prefer this one with the pressure plates because it's so much easier.
So just to reiterate, Mike, the black ones go on the brass?
The black goes on the brass, that's right.
Because the colors don't always come through.
Yeah. And this is a lot easier when it's in the wall. It ain't flopping around on this table like this. But for demonstration purposes, we had a lot easier time of it out here in the sun where you could actually see it. And then again, just simple thing. Just hold it back about 5/8 of an inch. Stick it through just so it just barely sticks through your hole. Twist it like that. Put those on the silver. And again, these are really not meant to have to go on the screw. These are pressure plate. They have an actual place where you can stick the wire in. These cost about 3 times more money than the cheap 35-45 cent ones you got with just the screws coming out. So that's why I'm using it this way, because most of us don't have the expensive plugs. And since I was just demonstrating, I would like to have left just a little bit more wire sticking out when we did that. And that goes on this green. And green for ground. G, always remember G stands for ground. And green starts with a G. And it's always going to be that way. Everywhere in electrical, you're always going to have green. It's going to be your ground. It's never going to be hot. It's never going to be neutral. It's always going to be ground. And your white's always going to be neutral. And then there you go. Then you'll have that. Fold your wires in, put the screws in, and you got a complete plug.